Heather Gardner, welcome back to Jason Unleashed. Great to see you.
I am so excited. Like every time we get together, we get to chat. It's just the best day.
It's the best day. Well, your energy is so infectious. You're awesome. And I have to start by saying congratulations on life because I have known you for over a decade now. And
I was gonna say, like, how long have we known each other?
we met in 2016. No, 2015.
Stop.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I
Yeah.
can't.
And I've seen you grow immensely in so many different ways as a woman, as a wife, as a content creator, as an everyday person, as someone who thousands upon thousands of people with millions of views, they come to your platform to be informed, to be inspired, to be motivated, to galvanize. So congratulations on what I call a hard motherfucking pivot. Because girl, that pivot, nuts.
We can talk all about that pivot. I can't, I would love to say it. I was like, yes, it was all part of my master plan, but that is not how it went down.
Yeah.
It's just one of those life gives you lemons and you do what you can
No,
moments.
life gave you lemons and you have a whole orchard.
Like I said, I wish that I had this like as my plan the entire time, but it really wasn't. It was out of necessity. 2020 was a life-changing year to
Word.
to say the least, to say the least. But I was coming like right before COVID started. I'm talking like 2 weeks before COVID started, before the lockdown, and everything happened. I had got what I thought was my dream job, and was everything that I was working towards in my years, my almost decade at that point, being in
Sure.
the entertainment industry. I had my own show on a network, and other things that like I never even dreamed that I would possibly have, like things that don't really matter, but we're still like, whoa, okay, like a
Well,
dressing
let
room,
me ask you a
a
question though.
stylist,
Hold
yeah.
on, let me because you bring up something, and I just have to I want to completely draw light to this because you said you had your dream job, and you had been someone who was grinding it out as an on-camera talent in Los
Mhm.
Angeles at some pretty big outlets, Holly Scoop. I mean, you were in the thick of it. Finally, you get the big break, and then it ends up not being what you thought.
Well, and that was that was because of COVID, 100%. It wasn't that the job was bad. I still say to this day, it was on Quibi. If you remember Quibi, God bless you.
Question
Rest in
mark.
peace, Quibi. But that, I mean, it truly was the best like job that I had ever had, best employer that I've ever had. And they were wonderful, but I mean, the world just changed in an instant. I haven't talked about this a lot because truthfully, like not many people, we know each other, but a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know, like, which is why all this happened. But a lot of people, especially in the politics world, one, don't care, but also two, don't even think to like talk about this. I just kind of appeared when everybody else kind of appeared in 2020, but I had a whole other life before that.
Yeah.
And I mean, the day that the lockdowns happened, I will never forget. I don't know how anybody could ever forget, but it was the day that Tom Hanks was diagnosed and everybody was freaking out. And then it was a day that the Utah Jazz team, when they stopped the game, remember they stopped the game mid-game
Yes.
and told everybody to go home because someone on the team had tested positive. Now that day, I was on set. Like, but that was the big day that I was on set. My stylist put me in this power pink suit, and I was literally filming for the first time on my set. Which, I mean, if you're in the TV world, like to have a giant set is a huge. Like it's again like the dream that I never like thought that I could
Pinch me.
achieve. Right, right.
Yeah.
And I put my phone away for 1 hour because we were filming promos. We were filming commercials that were going to air on networks, like for my show. And it was amazing. And it was very quickly just like shattered because I put my phone away, did the promos. I'm on cloud fucking nine, right?
Yeah.
I come back, like pick up my phone, and I just have an onslaught of messages. Are you okay? Like just tons of like Twitter updates and all these things. The world had changed. And of course, like that was the
Like
things
that.
that could have been.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, it was really sad when all that went down. But anyway, so backing up just a little bit further, I wanted to answer your question there, but we had found ourselves, my husband and I, just locked in our homes like everyone else in the world. And we had all this equipment and way more time than we ever had in our lives because no, we couldn't go anywhere or do
Right.
anything, like
Captive audience.
nothing. There was nothing to do. And for many months, I found myself screaming at the television. And then subsequently, like my husband, not screaming at him because he did anything wrong, but the world was
Right.
wrong. And I'm like, I just don't understand. Like Donald Trump's up here saying this and this is happening. Like I'm just like having meltdowns every day. And one day, Lauren was like, well, why don't you just film this? Like, we have all this stuff. You know how to edit videos. Like, why don't you just film this? And we did. And if we ever dug up, I should give it to you. I should give you the first one we ever did. It was terrible. But it resonated in a way that I wasn't expecting. That's my cat's food being
My dogs
dispensed,
do the
by the
same
way.
thing. Yeah, like animals
And I, and
love
now
it.
my husband is like, oops, I forgot to take that
That's real
away.
life. That's real life.
It's
This
real
is
life. And now
real.
my cat's so confused. He's like, wait, where did my food go? Anyway, I mean, honestly, it's like we never left COVID. Like all now we just have a fancier light, you know. But this is what it was. My dog at the time and my cat, they would literally be like on my feet while I was filming my show. It just we never. Some of the things of COVID still remained, but the video that we posted, it just resonated in a way that I was not expecting. And then
Mhm.
someone messaged me on Instagram and was like, hey, you need to post these on TikTok. And I was like, what's a TikTok? And so I learned what a TikTok was and I signed up and I started posting videos. And by the fourth video, we had 1 million hits. And I think overnight we had like 30,000 followers. And it was, yeah, and it was a really fun, even though it was like a scary and horrible and terrible time, it was also like a really fun time. Because one, I was still doing my show. So this was like very like low stakes. This was like something I just enjoyed doing in the
Sure.
midst of the
Yeah.
pandemic, in the midst of my job. But and we got to play a lot. We did a lot of parody songs and we did a lot of skits at that time. And it just was lower. It was lower stakes.
And you found isn't it interesting that amidst all of the crumbling and the stoppage of life in the world as we knew it at that
Mhm.
time, they say like the rose growing from the concrete. That's essentially what happened for you.
It was a crazy time because I got like super involved with like, I mean, for the first time in my content creation career, I was out of my house. I was out of the studio. There were just opportunities to go to the DNC, to go to the White House. I went to the White House twice last year. You know, talking to representatives because people were like activated and excited about the election. I
Activated.
canvassed. Yeah, I
I
know,
love that.
right? I
Activated.
activated. Um, so it was a really like fun time, and I don't know why I didn't like envision this. I think there's a healthy dose of ignorance. Although I'm a pretty like I'm not an ignorant person to think that like, oh, there's no way Trump could win. No way. I think I'm just like was maybe holding on to a little too much optimism of like, no, good will win. Like good will win. Like one of those people that has to believe that good will win. And I just didn't think in my mind that he would win. I didn't prepare my mind. Obviously, that was always a possibility, but I did not prepare myself for what that world looked like. And so after Kamala lost and after Trump won, I really, really, really had to do some soul searching about what I wanted to do going forward with content.
Do you ever feel like you might be giving too much of yourself in this arena? Do you ever feel like maybe you'd want to scale it back a bit, or do you feel like no, my duty to my audience and to myself is to be the most transparent, most authentic, and most informative Heather I can be?
I think it's a little bit of both. Certainly I am fearful a lot. I mean, like trolls and stuff don't typically bother me, but I will say, and you had mentioned this earlier about how like get in the kitchen, yeah. Get those comments and have gotten those comments and endless times, but I will say that they are there are more of them, and they are more vicious
Hmm.
now because I think,
In what
you know,
way?
because Trump is the bully president. And, I think a lot of men in particular, 'cause let's just be real here, 90% of the nasty comments that I get, and especially those ones, they come from men. I think they're emboldened in a different way. I think that's why right after Trump won the election, on the night of the election, hadn't been president for 2 hours, and you have people on the internet saying, "Your body, my
My choice.
choice."
Right, right.
Pretty fucking sure they wouldn't have said that if Kamala won, but because they realize that they have an ally in this way, and let's just be real here. Trump is signaling to all of those people who want to say those things that this is perfectly fine. Hence, like, case in point, the Tate brothers
Hmm.
being negotiated out of a country and be able to come back to the United States despite the fact that they have, I'll say, grape charges, so I don't get you kicked
Sure,
off.
sure.
Grape charges and sexual assault charges and human trafficking charges against them. And we have a president who is going to sit here and say, that's okay. He's valuable to me. What do you think that tells these men?
Totally.
So in my mind, that's why there's an influx of these types of comments, and they're getting more vicious towards me as a woman online because they're emboldened to say those things because they realize they have an ally.
All the content, all the nuance, all the energy and everything you put into this to bring it to people, what do you want them to walk away with? What do you want them to be filled up with? Because there's, as you know, there are many a place we can go to find political content. We can go to have that slant to any side of the aisle that we're on. But for you, what do you hope they gain?
So I like to say that we are kind of like entry level politics. I mean, we do explainers. We explain and define terms. And here's a little secret. Sometimes I'm learning along the way with everybody else too. I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I know so many more government acronyms now that I didn't know before because I have to sometimes look up what does USAID? What do they actually do? Like, we're learning, all these things together as they come up. So people will come across people who aren't normally in these spaces, will come across my videos because they're comedic and they're funny, and they touch on things that are obviously political, but in different ways that you're not being presented. So I mean, my biggest thing is just educating people about the world that's going on around them. And so I want people to be like, oh, I watched a video, your funny little video of you in the school. It was MAGA Elementary. I watched you as a teacher, like making little jokes about sexual education. Oh, that's funny. Is that a real thing that's happening? Oh, wait, that's a real thing that's happening. So I want you to be aware of the things that we're discussing first and foremost, and then come back and like be energized to do something about these things. I mean, you have to know about the problem to be able to help solve the problem.